This is your before and after story, where your first steps towards a new life-changing career begin. Southeastern College can take you there. We offer in-demand hybrid and online programs with hands-on training, led by in-field career professionals, and career services to put you on the path to a rewarding and fulfilling future. This is where your transformation begins. Southeastern College, your future is bright. Visit sec.edu to get started.
When we started writing our thoughts down on paper, it opened up endless possibilities. Ideas could grow beyond the borders of the mind, and it changed the world. Somewhere along the way, we lost touch with paper, distracted by devices made for every purpose except for thinking and focus. On edge, waiting for the next notification. But what if new technology didn't pull us away from paper, but brought us closer to it? Listen. That's not paper. It's the sound of the new Remarkable Paper Pro, rewriting the future. A paper tablet with a true color ink display, gentle reading light, and unheard of tactility. With digital features for taking notes, thinking, and organizing, without any distractions. Paper is about to change the world again. Get your paper tablet at remarkable.com today.
You know, in our world today, things move so fast. Staying genuinely informed, it can feel like trying to drink from a fire hose, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with complex stuff like geopolitics. The news just hits you constantly.
It really does.
But what if the best way to really get a deep understanding isn't just the headlines or some research paper? What if it's the questions people are actually asking?
Exactly. And that's the angle we're taking for this deep dive. It's a bit different.
Yeah.
We're not just wading through articles. We're looking at this huge collection of search queries about U.S.-Iran tensions. It tells us about the collective curiosity, the concerns, maybe even the public's anxieties.
So our mission today is to unpack what you and really millions of others were trying to understand about this relationship, which can be, well, pretty volatile.
Right.
We'll explore the specific events people were asking about, the places that seemed really significant, what consequences people feared.
And even who they were turning to for information.
Mm-hmm.
The news outlets, the specific figures.
It's basically a deep dive into the information landscape itself, like a map of what people were thinking during those moments of tension.
Mm-hmm. A map of the public mind.
Okay, so let's dig into this first big theme, the sheer number of searches about direct military action. It's pretty striking.
It really is.
Queries like U.S. bombs Iran or Trump bombs Iran, it suggests this widespread public concern, almost like people felt it was happening or about to happen.
And what's really fascinating, I think, is how immediately and powerfully people linked it to a specific leader.
You mean Trump?
Yes.
Okay.
We saw this clear pattern. Queries weren't just, did the U.S. bomb Iran? But very often, did Trump bomb Iran today? Yeah. Why did Trump attack Iran? Trump strikes Iran. Things like that were just incredibly common.
So it wasn't just about the action, but who was potentially ordering it.
Precisely. It's not just about who holds the office at the time. It says something about how the public tends to maybe simplify these huge geopolitical events.
Right. Reduce it down to one person's decision.
Yeah. One identifiable person. It shows this like deep human need to assign agency, maybe even blame, when the reality is usually much more complex, more layered than that.
That's a really powerful point. So, okay, people are thinking about direct military strikes, they're connecting it to a leader. But if something like that were to happen, where did their attention go?
Well, the data gives a very specific answer there.
Not just general conflict?
No, not at all. It zeroed in on very particular, very sensitive locations.
Okay, now that sounds interesting.
If you connect this to the bigger picture, right?
Yeah.
The way terms like Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan kept showing up.
Alongside Iran nuclear sites.
Exactly. It suggests a really keen, maybe even surprising level of public awareness about Iran's nuclear program.
That these were the flashpoints.
Yes. That the nuclear program was seen as absolutely central to any potential conflict. These aren't just random names as Fordo, Natanz, Isfahan. They're key facilities, known facilities. Seeing them pop up so consistently in searches, it really underscores a public anxiety specifically about the nuclear side of things.
Not just war in general, but nuclear risk.
Definitely. We even saw some intriguing searches like Fordo is gone.
Wow.
You know, might have been based on misinformation, but it speaks volumes about the level of public fear, maybe even a kind of dark wishful thinking about those specific sites.
That really is thought-provoking. It suggests people weren't just passively scrolling headlines. They were actively trying to understand the specifics.
Drilling down, yeah.
So, okay, beyond the what happened or what might happen, people were clearly asking why. What does it tell us when searches like, why did the U.S. bomb Iran, or why did Trump attack Iran were so common?
Well, it raises this important point about the public's need to understand motivation.
The reasons behind it all.
Exactly. To connect the actions to a wider story, a geopolitical context. People aren't just satisfied with knowing what happened. They want the narrative, the cause and effect. And that need to understand the why didn't just stop at politics. It seemed to extend to the how as well.
How do you mean?
We saw searches for really specific military things, like Tomahawk missile or Operation Midnight Hammer.
Midnight Hammer, really?
Yeah, it reveals this deeper curiosity about the actual tools and tactics, the military specifics that might be involved in a conflict.
So people are looking for the political why and the military how.
And also the who else.
Yeah.
Beyond just the U.S. and Iran.
Ah, right. The wider context.
The searches often broadened out. They included other regional powers, global players. It shows an understanding that these tensions don't happen in a vacuum.
Like who?
We saw a significant search interest in countries like Russia, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Turkey, China.
Okay, the major players.
And what was really striking was the persistent focus on Israel.
Ah, that connection.
So many queries about Iran-Israel war, latest news on Israel and Iran. Why is Iran attacking Israel? Israel-Iran conflict. It just kept coming up.
Which highlights how people instinctively link that U.S.-Iran dynamic to the broader, often really volatile regional situation.
Absolutely. They understand, or at least sense, these deep interconnected alliances and rivalries are all part of the mix.
And maybe the most, the most gut-level fear that came through in all this data.
Oh, definitely. The specter of it all just spiraling, wider conflict.
It's cascading outwards.
Absolutely. I mean, the sheer number of searches for things like, is the U.S. going to war with Iran? Are we going to war with WW? Even as WW3 started.
Wow, WW3.
Yeah. It wasn't just general worry. It felt like a raw, visceral public fear of a huge global conflict erupting.
People trying to figure out if this was it.
Right. Actively seeking to understand the potential for things to escalate badly and what the immediate results might be, both overseas and crucially at home.
You saw that in the searches.
Clearly.
Right.
Look at searches about Iran response, or will Iran retaliate? How will Iran retaliate?
Right.
People were trying to anticipate the next move, the counter move.
Like a chess game, but terrifyingly real.
And it wasn't abstract fear. There were concrete worries about the domestic impact. Searches like U.S. cities on high alert or for homeland security.
So personal safety concerns.
And economic ones, too. The way searches immediately pivoted to things like oil prices, stock market futures, Dow Jones futures.
Ah, the financial markets.
It shows just how quickly those big geopolitical anxieties translate into really practical worries about people's wallets, about economic stability.
Makes sense. So, okay, we've seen the what, the where, the why, the what if. What about the who and where people were going for information? And how fast did they want it?
Right. That was another fascinating layer. The huge list of news outlets, specific people mentioned in the searches, it gives you this incredible map of how people consume information when tensions are high.
A map of trust, maybe? Or at least attention.
Maybe. It's not just a long list, though. What's interesting is the breadth. People seem to be casting a really wide net.
How so?
Well, you saw searches mentioning mainstream outlets, CNN, the New York Times, AP, but also places like Fox News, Newsmax, Al Jazeera, the Daily Wire. Across the spectrum, really.
So not just sticking to one source.
It suggests maybe people were trying to confirm things or get different perspectives. Perhaps, a general skepticism about relying on just one narrative.
Interesting. And it wasn't just news organizations, right? You mentioned individuals.
Yeah, that was striking, too. People searching for insights from specific figures. Politicians like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's or Nancy Pelosi on one side, maybe Representative Massey or Markwayne Mullin on another. Military voices like General Dan Kane. Even specific journalists like Seymour Hersh.
So commentators, experts, politicians.
And official channels, too. At the same time, people were searching for the Pentagon, the White House, Congress, looking for briefings or statements.
Like Trump addressed the nation or Pentagon briefing today?
Exactly. So you have this mix. Official sources, varied news outlets, individual commentators. It suggests a public trying to piece things together, triangulate some kind of truth from all these different inputs, grappling with potential information overload.
And they wanted it now.
Oh, the urgency was palpable. Terms like today, now, live, breaking news were constantly attached to their searches about events and speeches. They needed information in real time.
So pulling it all together, this deep dive into what people were searching for, it really paints this vivid picture, doesn't it? Collective concern about U.S.-Iran tensions. We've seen this intense focus on specific military actions, the critical nature of those nuclear sites.
The deep-seated anxieties about escalation, about things spiraling into a wider war.
Right, and those very real worries about the economy, the financial fallout.
And all of it filter through this constant search for immediate answers, drawing from this incredibly wide range of sources and specific voices.
And it's crucial to remember, like you said earlier, these aren't just, cold data points on a graph.
Not at all.
They represent real questions, real anxieties, that deep desire to understand that you listening and millions of others feel when these complex global events unfold.
It genuinely shows how our individual curiosities, when you look at them all together, actually shape the whole information landscape.
So maybe something to think about. Next time you type a question into a search bar, especially about something big happening in the world, consider what that search says, not just about what you want to know, but maybe why you're asking it right then. What bigger anxieties, what global currents might it reflect?
Yeah. And how do all our searches together shape how we understand the world, and maybe how they might even shape the world itself?